sitting around. Okay, so welcome everybody to. This has to be probably like the 20th back testing session we've done now, because I've been doing this now for almost a year. I started in like, no, maybe I started in May, so it hasn't been quite a year, but definitely done a lot of them. So I want to thank each and every one of you who join me every 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, thank you, Rob. Keep them going, mate.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank you, Rob.
And for anybody who's new, obviously thank you for joining us too. You know, like it's always fun to do these. It's a good learning experience for me and you guys, right? Because we get to kind of play around with it. I try to backtest as much as I can during the week, but obviously, I count this as my backtesting for, this day as well, right? I'll probably backtest after this a little bit if I have energy, but it's a fun thing to practice. Between this and daily recaps, whatever you got to do, build those habits. Like this will help you, inevitably become good on the technical side, right? And I think it helps with mindset too, and building confidence. So
yeah, it does.
Yeah,
so let's get
the
started.
ELDs are really helpful.
Really does, mate. Because sometimes you come home from work and then you haven't been on chats all day, and then you get to do this, and it's so helpful. Honestly, it really helps.
Appreciate that. Oh, I'm glad. As long as you guys are getting value out of it, right? We'll keep doing it.
Like last time when I joined the backtesting session, I was really all over the place with learning, and when we had that conversation about struggling, you kind of helped me quite a bit. So I guess I'm
That's
eternally
awesome,
in debt to you.
I'm glad I helped. So yeah, let's mark out. Oh, and by the way, I guess before we start too, let's try to save questions for when we, I guess, go to like the software FX part of it, or maybe even like the end, unless you have a really good question, like save it. Or if anything, you can ask it in the chat. I have the chat open in my other screen, so if I see a good question, you can type them in. But let's try to save.
I'm on the chat also.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and Miguel's gonna help me a little bit too with that. But yeah, try to save any major questions for the end if you're gonna chat over the mic, so we just get through this, the whole month, right? Otherwise, we're gonna be kind of disjointed with it. But yeah, let's start with the weekly, or we can even start with the monthly actually. So I'll quickly show you guys what I've been doing lately with, and this is, I think it's a thing that like some people do that. We can kind of use this whole thing. I like to like kind of have my bias on the side. Now it's weird. This at the start, when I was like kind of like more new to this type of trading, this actually kind of like screwed me up because I would latch onto certain biases depending on the time frame. So I want to like, tell you guys, use this kind of like carefully, having your bias on the side. What I've started to do, because there's almost like multiple conflicting biases, is I've also added in kind of a thing where I'm talking about like adding in like essentially where we're reacting, or if we're reacting to something, I'm gonna like make a note of it in this, right? So I'm not gonna do it for the whole like session, but it's a little thing. Maybe if you guys want to test it out and like see if it works for you guys, maybe I'll continue to use it. If not, we'll scrap it altogether. But it's just kind of an idea I had, right? So I would basically say, okay, my structure is bullish, right, on the monthly, which in this case it's actually bearish. So it's pretty easy. I just use I hold Alt. I don't know what the keys are for Mac, but I know for Windows it's Alt 2.5 for a down arrow and Alt 2.4 for an up arrow, right? And if we're like ranging, I'll just put like a little like squiggly, like the tilde symbol. It's not the tilde symbol, I don't know what it's called, but it's like the squiggly dash, right? Yeah, obviously this is bearish. And then if we're reacting to something, right? Actually, you know what? This is bullish now that I look at it, because we broke this high, right? Let's actually look at the structure here and be like concrete with this. So we kind of had this high. We didn't really break this one. I'd say we're kind of trapped between this, but like we're also talking about like the monthly chart here. So what do you guys think? Do you think this is bullish or bearish based on this? Because I almost want to count the substructure, even though this is obviously a complex pullback.
I think it's bearish, and I would say on the monthly that would be like a change of character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't count that as a bullish.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, I agree with that. So I'd say we're bearish, and then on top of that, look, we're getting a bearish reaction off of like a weekly zone or a monthly zone, right? So this is where I would kind of put something like this. So R dash Alt 2.5, and that's gonna make like another down arrow, right? So again, I'm not gonna do this for the whole session, but it's just a little idea I had. You guys test it out maybe this week, see if it helps you at all. If you find it doesn't work, let me know, DM me. But I've kind of been doing it this week, and it kind of helps me, I guess, like call out just in general what's happening. Obviously it's not a good substitute for like actually like, you know, following your chalks and everything. You have to have, you know, everything mapped out, right? But it's more so I wanted to, you know, visualize kind of what's going on in my head. What am I thinking about, right? So obviously we're bearish, reacting
I
to a
used
bearish
something
zone.
similar also.
Yeah. You have one too, Miguel, where it's like you're looking at what we were reacting to?
I have something similar also in the on my time frames, so I don't have always to be looking.
There you go. So okay, we're obviously reacting to this monthly zone, right? You guys can see that, but you know, until we, I would say until we chalk, right? It's a monthly also. So here's the thing: even on the 4 hour, I'd probably be like pretty bearish on this. We can go down to those time frames and see, right? Same with weekly. Again, for weekly, I'm actually gonna say that I'm bullish, based on the fact that, you know, we're breaking this high, right? So it's actually the same as like almost the monthly chalk. I would be hesitant almost to call this a chalk because it's so subtle, but you could, right? But we're definitely still bullish in terms of swing structure on the weekly, right? I think you guys can agree with that. And then if we look to sort of refine it, right? I'm going to do kind of what Blackwatch does here. Rather than having like a million different boxes, we'll just refine this down to the weekly, right? Because it's kind of redundant to have like both boxes. Okay, we got weekly. That's cool. And then we actually have a weekly chain that's started here, as you guys can see, right? Where we've essentially swept out all of this stuff here, this trendline liquidity, right? So we swept, and then price pushed down. We got our, technically our weekly chalk. Price came, popped back up into this, right? So that's good. Again, this is redundant for me to mark this out because it's unlikely that price, I mean, I don't want to say it's unlikely, but I feel like it's kind of a low chance that price is going to pull back that deep. If it does, whatever, but I kind of want to focus on obviously the daily 4 hour 15, since we're going to be doing more intraday price action, right? And yeah, we're also in another weekly counter trend zone here too, right? So again, very messy. We're taking out IRL here, right? But this is not the worst weekly zone, right? So I'll mark that out and let's see if we can sort of refine it. So we actually swept this. That's kind of interesting. This I think will be a little bit clearer, right? From the lower time frame. So let's drop down to daily now, right? So there you go. Again, sweeping IRL. Just as Miguel marked out, we have liquidity here. Either this is going to go or it's going to hold. It's one or the other, right? But if I were going to refine this now to the daily, I'm going to look at this zone. We're going to change this to a daily box, right? And then what's my daily? My daily is bearish, right? And then again, like we're just eyeballing it, right? For this particular, I mean, unless you guys want me to do it, is there anybody in here that's kind of new that is still struggling with structure? We can do a little bit of like structure markups. I can mark out the points. I won't do it for the whole call because it just takes up so much time, but I'll do it like maybe just for the first initial analysis. What do you guys think?
Yeah, do it anyway. Yeah, it's helpful, isn't it?
Okay, Matt says.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Matt is asking for Eagle to overstructure.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So let's do that. So I don't typically mark out the swing points of daily structure, but you know what, let's do it for this one. The reason I don't is because, again, it's like, for those of you who are a little bit newer, I found personally, like, it is hard to have that many biases floating in your head at once, right? So for me, it's like, I'd rather just mark out 4 hour 15 because it's relevant to us and, you know, how like 90% of the traders in here trade. Most of us are intraday traders, right? So we're pretty much looking to, you know, capture intraday moves. If you have, you know, your daily bias and it's like a little bit too strong, you can sometimes make a mistake of trying to play a daily bias on like an intraday time frame, and like that can be counterproductive in a way, right? So I'll mark it out anyways, because for those of you that are advanced, I mean, same thing. If you can handle, you know, 4 different time frames in your head and understand what's happening, like that's great, right? And I'm sure there's even some of you that are new that, you know, maybe you understand how to do it too. For me personally, I have a P brain, so I couldn't do it up until now. Okay, I'm just being honest. So daily structure is bearish just based on this, right? I'm not going to count this small pullback. It's not really relevant to me, though. Before this low broke, I definitely would have used these two as POIs, right? And I'm still interested in these if price comes back up to them, right? Because, I mean, overall, I mean, we're still bearish, right? We could pull back and like, we could continue to range. We could obviously, you know, blow through the bottom, right? We don't really know what's going to happen next.
Also,
Except for those of you
here
that
left
did the homework. Right?
equalize, and it can weak here
Yeah.
to continue bearish.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously the other alternative to that, right? We want to like keep our mind open to like all potential scenarios. These could also get used as internal range liquidity, much like this, and we could see just bullish price action. Like none of these have any obligation to hold, right? Just like this low has no obligation to hold either, right? So let's see what happens, right? This one's kind of nice because it's swept liquidity, but again, just following structure, right? If we're looking at, whoa, why is my thing so laggy? Is my screen lagging for you guys too? Oh, there you go.
No, it looks good on my end.
Oh no.
There we go. I think it's a little better now. So yeah, look, so structure, just to draw it out, right, on daily, is kind of like this, right? And so what are we expecting next? This is kind of a floating low, right? So this could continue to push down until we get a significant pullback. Then, then I'll mark this out and kind of expect that this low that gets created is going to get taken out next, just based on this time frame, right? If we can combine all the other time frames, then potentially that might not happen. But again, leave our options open, right? So that's daily. If we now drop to, and I guess let me mark out these daily zones really quickly. So I don't really like anything in here. Like this to me does not look like it's going to hold, but we'll mark it out. If anything, it's a good like catalyst for a pullback, right? But
I think that can hold if there's something like this.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, anything could hold, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah.
But I just wish it would have like swept. I mean, it did sweep this, right? We'd have to dig into this. We'll look at it on the 4 hour too.
Yeah.
But we'll mark out these daily zones just to be like aware of them as potential zones, right? And then we also have this daily that's sitting all the way at the top up here, so you can kind of be aware of that. But I won't even bother marking that out. We don't want to like crowd the chart up too much, right? So that's daily. 4 hour. Let's take a look at this. This is where we can kind of really dig into it. I really think 4 hours is like the most important higher time frame in general. Like daily is important obviously because then you can kind of see like further back most of the time, but 4 hours is nice because I mean it's kind of like a good mix between almost intraday and like higher time frame, right? Without being like a whole daily candle, right? So okay, same thing with the 4 hour. It's actually pretty similar to daily, it almost looks like. So we'll start from here, right? So again, for those of you that are new, if you're like new to these backtesting calls, I like to like go backward a little bit so that we don't get caught in like a complex pullback and marking out like substructure. So we can even go as far as marking out back here, right? So it's the same lesson I do for you guys, I feel like every time, right? Where kind of mark this out. I'm always looking kind of for pullbacks. I'm not counting small pullbacks like this, right? I want at least like 5 or 6 candles. It kind of varies. It is contextual, but like, again, it's about like us trying to create like a good interpretation of what price is like doing, right? Based on the candles that are in front of us. So you have this is an obvious pullback, right? Price then pushes down, we break this low, right? So it's pretty simple. You have that high, then we push lower, we form another low, right? Price then pulls back, right? Kind of ranges for a bit and then breaks this low, right? So it's funny, we actually have the same swing points as the daily in a sense, right? Because again, if this is our whole like swing structure from here to here, breaking these small like little pullbacks like this, they don't count as swing structure breaks for me, right? If I were going to count this, then I'd be like, okay, this broke up, then maybe I'd count this as the low or this is the low, right? But that's not really what happened, right? So we want to kind of follow like the overall picture rather than getting caught in, again, the substructure, right? So we have that, price breaks lower, and then again, we can trail our high, right? So there's 2 ways of doing this. Either we leave it where it is, which I've kind of been doing more lately. I honestly don't think it matters at the end of the day, because even if you're trailing your swing high to this, it's not like you wouldn't play this zone either, right? Like there's always the possibility of it. It really depends on how price approaches it and how it starts reacting, right? And if we get like a chalk or whatever, right? So it really depends on your trading plan and like what kind of aggression you want to use. You have traders like Dan, for example, who always plays reactions, and then you have traders like me with a lower strike rate, but I like to play like aggressive stuff where I'll look for like a 15-minute chalk in a zone like this, right?
Like me.
And same with Miguel, yeah. So it really depends on what you want to do. The tough thing is about the way that I trade is like you need like a good psychology for it. Dan, on the other hand, his strike rate's great. I don't know if he's still in here, but you know, he's sitting on his hands a lot more. Like, he takes literally half the amount of trades that I take per month. It's just something we've observed over, like, you know, the past year of us trading together, right? So let's see, we sweep this, right? Price pushes down. I would honestly even call this potentially swing structure too, right? And Miguel's marking out a little flip zone. Okay, so yeah, we'll mark that. I think that's relevant.
Yeah, as the extreme swept liquidity, we might not have to sweep anymore, and you can react from this.
Yeah, that's fair. I think personally for this one, Miguel, I actually would mark out this, if I'm being honest. I don't think I'd mark the buy to sell wicks, though I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, the extreme is always valid for me.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, we could observe that too, right? If price comes into it. The other thing is, for those of you that are new, I like to like widen my POIs, right? Just so my alerts get hit and I'm kind of aware that we're approaching it. But again, like sometimes what I'll do is I'll mark out multiple things, and they're kind of like nested like this to see like how deep we're getting into the POI, right? Because obviously if we just tap into this, like, you know, it's not as good as if we pull back deeper, right? And then we get our chalk and we can play our whole you know, setup and everything, right? But this, in terms of like a 4-hour flip, the way I'm kind of seeing it is you have this level here, which is our demand, right? That pretty much failed. So it is a flip based on, you know, what you're saying there. That makes total sense. But it's also a flip based on this, right? Because price created a reaction, it swept this liquidity, and then it failed, right? I think both are valid. You could definitely play these wicks too, right?
Yeah.
What else is good about this flip? Something to note. Like, this is a subtle thing, but I like the fact that the flip itself swept liquidity. So this, in theory, should have been like a relatively strong low, right? Based on the way that it formed. It broke substructure, right? Based on what we're looking at to the left. Then look, it kept failing to break high. So we knew it was kind of a weak low. It obviously failed, right? But it's a nice flip, right? So again, another like decent zone we can look at based on the fact that we're like super bearish here, right? Here I don't really see a flip. I was gonna say, so going back to structure for a second, right? So if this is our 4-hour structure, kind of doing this, we have our complex pullback, price pushes down. Usually what I'm doing when I'm talking about trailing my swing point is either I'm looking at this or this high, right? Again, reason being, you know, again, depending on your trading plan and how aggressive you want to be, you can count this as your swing high, right? So I'm gonna trail it to that. Price obviously pushed down pretty aggressively. If price has to trek all the way back up and break this high, I want to count that as a structure break, right? So that's kind of the logic behind it. Now, if we look at this, remember my rule, right? This is a pretty significant pullback. I almost want to say that this is structure like that too, right? Whether you mark that up as structure or you consider this one whole leg consolidated into a bearish push, like an impulsive move, you can do that too. For me, I'm going to mark it like that. So again, doesn't mean I won't play these, but you know, I'm more interested in like trying to follow this. At the same time, remember, we always want to flip through the time frames and think, does it make more logical sense for price to pull back to here? And are we better priced to try to short from here? Answer is yes, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if we try to short from here, we're kind of chasing, you know, the move, right? But it's totally dependent on like the momentum of the market, and we really don't know until we observe price. So
yeah, it's price usually with high momentum. It doesn't come to premiums or zones. If it's a high momentum, we can trade from discounts, in this case on a short.
Yeah. So the other thing we can do too is look to play longs if there is like a nice zone that we're potentially tapping into. More of like as a pullback, right? Especially if we think we're really low in the leg and we want to play like a pullback into a short, right? So let's see. Okay, so we swept this guy out. Again, sometimes what happens, it's weird, right? You can have situations where you'll have like a sweep of a zone that's otherwise pretty good. And I think this is, again, it's a characteristic of GU more so, where you'll sweep like a low or like a nice POI, and then it can still end up like playing out pretty well because you're almost like sweeping that liquidity and then taking all those, you know, buyers out in the case of this where it would be a demand, right? I'm not saying this is particularly a good zone. We obviously swept liquidity, right? But then, you know, price, you know, swept it, and now it looks like it's got a pretty impulsive move. I'm guessing this is some sort of news, right? So we got a 4-hour chalk right away, right? So that's our first thing. If we flip to the daily for a second, it looks like for us to chalk, we have to break our 4-hour swing point up here, right? So again, I'm not normally really thinking about this. If anything, it's for reference for us. Now we're aware of it. But let's look now at the 15 minute, right? After we look at the 4 hour, we know it's bearish. We've chalked. The 15 is obviously going to be pretty bullish, right? So let me quickly mark out 15-minute structure, and then I'll stop marking out structure from there, and we'll just kind of play through price, right? But again, just so you guys get an idea of like, you know, how to mark out the different time frames. Again, for those of you who are new to it.
A little way that I see it is that like if the 15-minute breaks structure, then the 4 hour chalks, and if the 4 hour break structure, then the daily chalks.
Yeah,
that's
actually a very good way to look at it.
It's very similar.
Yeah, it won't always line up perfectly, but
most of the time.
Most of the time it does. Yeah, absolutely. So
usually for our substructure is 15 minutes structure, 15 minutes substructure is 1 minute structure, or 5 minute structure, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So
there's a fantastic way that Robert's mark his structure. He's not showing that here today. That he goes he marks structure on higher time frames.
Yeah, like the 8 hour or
lower ones.
Yeah.
And it works pretty well.
Yeah, it's a good thing, I think, if you're new to it and you're struggling with structure, but I think really you should develop the skill to do it on the time frame that you're on. And it gets easier. Trust me, structure is the thing that I struggled with most when I started trading this way. Because I came from retail and I looked at it differently, right? Yeah, it is very difficult. Yeah. Liquidity is pretty hard too, because it's so like hard to interpret sometimes, right? But yeah, anyways, so here is my 15-minute structure. Again, I'm starting like pretty far from the back. As you guys can see, we were in a complex pullback here, right? This is my high, this is my low. We broke the low. I look back, I'm like, okay, where's my swing point high? This one swept liquidity, so that looks good to me, right? Again, it becomes second nature for me. For you, it might, for those of you that are new, it might be a little bit more difficult. Again, you don't have to be perfect with it. Just be 80% accurate, right? And then eventually you'll get better and better. That last 20% you can like refine over, however many months as you learn how to build that skill, right? Price pushes down. So this I wouldn't, small thing I want to note, I don't want to necessarily call these breaks because of the fact that they're so subtle, right? I want to see a big break like this. So we see a big break. I'm going to keep this as my swing high. I almost even want to say this is my swing high, like looking back at it, because look, we have price pulling back to it. Potentially like these could hold, right? We'll leave it at that. That's fine. Price pushes down, right? Yeah. So overall, I almost want to call this my whole like swing point here, from here to here, right? Oliver, does that make sense? Because I know you're marking out this, right? So you could mark it out, and I think I have marked this out maybe in the past. I mean, this is
I won't consider it.
Year, but you wouldn't?
No, I wouldn't.
No. Okay, good. So good. We're on the same page about that then. So that's our low, right? What gets broken next? This, right? And do we close below it? Yeah, very clearly, right? And again, I'm going to look backward within the leg. It's this, right? So to make it simple for you guys, this is what price looks like right now, right? This is all a complex pullback, right? The reason, well, you could use this high too, right? But again, the reason I'm using this is because, again, I'm just looking backward and I'm looking at the nearest, point, right, Shane? And then look, we break that low, we define this low down here, right? And then exactly, price pushes up and we break this high. So now we're stuck between pretty much this range, right? On the 15 minute, right? Kind of looks like the square root symbol, right? I don't know why, but it does. So now we can kind of, we're pretty bullish here, so you gotta be careful. And we chopped on the 4 hour. I almost want to look for longs now, right? Just because we've tapped into a 4 hour wick daily. We got a huge impulsive move. We can try and play a pullback here, I think. Okay, so first thing that happens, we swept liquidity. I'm going to start marking out 15-minute zones that I like. If I put an order template on it, we will count it. Obviously, we'll count BEs and valid/invalid. I'll even just call it wins and losses. You guys want to call it that? So everybody understands what we're doing. Can you guys see this okay, or is it too small?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, cool. So let's see, we have the extreme. Why is this extreme kind of interesting? Well, look, we swept liquidity here. We swept this low out. Price pushed up. We're kind of chaining a little bit. I wouldn't necessarily play this as a risk entry, you could. If anything, like if we were like doing intraday and this was in New York session, what am I going to look for, right? Just on the 1 minute. I'm going to look for probably multiple chalks, to be honest, right? So something like this, right? We're breaking multiple highs, right? And then I'd look to play like one of these, right? So same thing, like even though I'm on the 15 minute, I kind of want to approach it in a similar way. I want to play the reaction to it, right? I don't want to be overly aggressive. And if price makes new structure highs, then, you know, same thing. But on the flip side, we also have some nice chains kind of forming here, right? So again, for simplicity's sake, anytime you guys see me use this EQ tool, it's a 15-minute zone because we're not going any lower than that, right? Let's see, we're kind of wicking this low out. Here's New York session. I want to say that we even have this too, right? Again, more so a POI than a place that we're looking to take a trade off of. If I slap an order on, then we'll count it, right? We're not going to do any rewinding or anything like that. Okay, so now we're in it, taking this high out, right? So we can interpret this two ways. Obviously, we're bullish on the 15-minute. The price is pulled back to pretty much the 50% of like this overall range, right? If I mark this out, right, you can see the little line in the middle. However, it looks like we built liquidity kind of on both sides, to be honest. We swept, and we're also sweeping liquidity into this. So I want to see, again, I want to see a chalk on this, number one, if I'm going to play like a counter trend to 15-minute move. But remember, we have to know that overall our 4-hour is, we kind of saw what happened. It blows through it, but our 4-hour is obviously bearish here, right? Until we break pretty much this swing point high, right? Which is, again, our daily chalk, right? So let's see. Let's see if we would have got caught out on this, right? I want to be realistic about it. If I see a chalk on this and like it looks good, then I would definitely play it, right? Okay, price blows through. Now we're like even more bullish, right? Just to continue it, again, I'm not going to do this for the whole thing, but look, our swing points are kind of like this, right? Exactly. Miguel has a nice zone here. Remember, we have the extreme to worry about too. Not worry about, but to be aware of, right? For this, I almost want to leave a limit on it. And this is kind of where like my aggression comes in. Me and Miguel were very similar in that sense, where like, you know, we want to just like maybe throw limits on stuff like that, but I'm going to wait for a reaction on that one, right? And look, we can even mark this up as the whole range that got tapped into, right? And potentially this. Again, this is me kind of like going a little bit wild with it, but, you know, sometimes it's worth like taking the risk, right? Because sometimes if you're too conservative, you can miss out and just take losses the whole month. So we want to be careful of that too. Right now, we haven't really broke this level of demand up here, or sorry, supply. So I want to see that go if I'm going to try and play something like this. Or again, I want to see a chalk, and then we can play the reaction, right? Yeah, I agree. We do have liquidity here, structural liquidity, right? So there's a good chance that's going to get run, right? Okay, we tapped into this. Yeah, so I was going to say, here's the thing, right? Again, I like making these interactive. Miguel, I know you would obviously throw a limit on this. Do you guys want to enter this? Give me a yes or no.
Yeah, I'll throw a limit on that, like on the EQ or
on the EQ? I would just enter market on this personally.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna do it that way because there's a chance you might not get tapped, right? Though I like your logic because the EQ actually lines up with the wick on this, right? So
yeah.
So what's our risk here, guys? Our risk is obviously whatever we're risking, right? But if we're talking about our risk in terms of what price could do, that's going to take us out. What are we paying to find out, right? We're risking X% to find out if this is going to get run or not, right? And to see if this is going to hold, right? So, okay, we'll throw a limit on there. If we get taken out, we get taken out. No biggie. Okay, we get taken out. So we'll count one loss in here. We're -1R. So we got swept, it looks like, so far. Does that mean that I'm done playing it? Not necessarily, right? I'm still down to play the extreme, and you know, if we chalk, then
you need to drop to lower time frame, don't you?
Yeah. This is why you got to be careful too, though, right? But
I won't be playing it off a 15, like, but
let's see, we're kind of ranging because it's Asia, right? So in order for us to get a chalk, unfortunately, right now we got to wait for this high to break, right? So ideally, what I want to see is this get run, and then we chalk up again, right? But in terms of shorts, here's the reason I'm kind of hesitant to take a short right now is, again, if we look at like the daily or 4-hour or whatever, it looks like we're pretty, let me just delete this for a sec.
Low on the leg.
We're so low in the leg, right? until we really like take out this daily and 4 hour, like I want to be careful about taking shorts, right? That's just my thought on it. Yeah, if you have a question about liquidity, ask it in the chat, and if anything, Miguel, you can maybe answer, or I'll answer it if it's a simple question. Yeah. So let's see, 15-minute. I think our overall bias is correct though. Let's see. Okay, took the low out. Okay, we chalked again, right? So definitely this is like a nice zone we could potentially play. But maybe let's wait for this level of supply to fail first, right?
I would mark only the week here.
Fair enough, let's mark both. So I'll quickly mark this with the red tool. So this is what I'm waiting to fail, basically. Okay, now it has failed. Now we can look potentially at playing this, right? So I'm gonna leave a limit on this. This looks pretty good to me.
Rob.
Yeah.
Can you show their chalky examples? They're asking here for
sure. Yeah.
What the chalk is.
So okay, in this case, right? Remember what a chalk is, right? I'll draw it with a line tool to make it a little bit more simple. Essentially, what it is you have some sort of a pullback, right? Usually, we're tapping into some sort of a zone, number one, right? And we're looking for the initial like shift in momentum from, you know, bearish to bullish or bullish to bearish, right? So in the case of like, you know, if we're looking for longs, right? We have something like this where price takes out a low, right? I'm looking backward. It's very similar to how we map out structure. I'm looking backward to see when this gets taken out, right? So just to give you an example of what a chalk isn't, right? Because I see people do this a lot, and I'm guilty of doing it too, right? Is this, right? Where you have like basically a substructure sort of like push up. This is not a chalk, right? Because this low is still intact unless this happens where you have, again, this low break first. Then we can say that this is a chalk, right? Because we're taking that high out, right? Otherwise, if we have price doing this, right, and just like sort of breaking up like that, right, without taking this low out, we want to wait until this goes, right? And so we kind of saw that here, right, where I was talking about waiting for this low to go and then waiting for a high to go, right? And now we've gotten technically like a clean chalk, right? But chalks come in a lot of like subtle different shapes and sizes. So sometimes I like to wait for two chalks even, right? Where, you know, imagine we have something like this, and this is the 1 minute. I'll actually wait for two to go, and then I want to see this as liquidity and try and play either an extreme or like, you know, sometimes I'll even play this, right? And try to play a decisional, right? For decisionals, you can wait for, you know, again, the same thing, a reaction, and wait for a chalk again, and then play the chain, right? So again, where would the chalk be, right? If we're treating this as a POI, price comes into this, right? Takes out a low here, price pushes up, takes out a high, right? So it's always taking out basically a major high and low or low and high, right? On the 1 minute. And same with the 50 minutes, the same logic, right? Just imagine this is a 1 minute chart. I would treat it the same way. So hopefully that explains it. If you need more information on what a chalk is, there is a channel dedicated to it. It's called What is Chalk? I don't know why it's called that, but I think they forgot to put of in it. Or no, what is a chalk, I mean. So let's see if we get tapped into this. It looks like price kind of wants to take off though. I don't know. Remember, the extreme is still potentially in play too. And again, if we start to break up a lot, and again, this is more like minor like substructure that we're waiting for. If we see that, then potentially we can try and play like this large wick or whatever, but I don't know. Let's see. This could also get used as liquidity, but I have a feeling like this is going to hold, though. I wouldn't play this directly. Rama's right. We have technically a chain starting to form too. If anything, let's mark this out. We can use it as a POI, right? So let's play forward a little bit faster. Yeah. So like, it's good to leave limits on extremes like this, because typically, like, if it's gonna tap into that and hold, like this almost has the best chance of holding compared to these, right? And you're better priced, right? If these aren't gonna hold, then this more likely will. If this doesn't hold, obviously these are not holding either, right? So the overall risk is like everything fails, but you know, 15 minute, obviously I wouldn't even say, did this break up again? Okay, yeah, it did. Kind of broke up again, then kind of broke down. Structure kind of did some weird stuff here. It's pretty, excuse me, it's pretty rangy, right? So let's see. The other thing is that I want to mention is we're actually taking out this level of supply out here, which is like, I would say pretty significant, right? And look, we created liquidity. I think we actually should have entered here. So if anything, we could enter market, or I can like throw a limit on this and see if we get tagged on it. What do you guys want to do? We could try to like leave a limit on the wick. This is me kind of chasing it, right? Because I don't want to like rewind, but if I saw this, I'd be like, okay, potentially we can just...
I did that when I backtested.
What, this one?
Yeah.
Did you take this
I
trade?
see the flip and it takes liquidity.
Yeah.
And I see the inducement, but the thing was we are still bearish on the H4, so the target was kind of...
Yeah. You know, let's count this one because I skipped through price a little bit too fast, and I would have liked to have taken that. At least I'm saying that, but if you guys are good with that, I'll throw it on. I think it's a good way to learn anyways, right? I do hindsight stuff once in a while. Actually, every day when I do recaps, I do that. But yeah, let's take a look at the 4 hour for a second, see like what would you target? Yeah, see, I'd probably target probably even like sooner than this, but let's target this high, right? Oh, you're saying up here, Miguel?
Yep.
Okay, I'm down. Let's do it. Let's get crazy with it, man. 15R. All right. I mean, I'm not gonna argue with that. Like,
we are reacting from a 4 hour zone. My target is a 4 hour zone.
That's fair. Yeah. For me, if I'm being honest, and I'll leave it the way the Miguel, said he wants to put it. Because
we can check for a reaction here.
Yeah.
And if we have a bearish shock, we take out.
Then we can take
80 or 90% of the position.
Yeah.
That's what I would do in a real market situation.
Yeah, that's fair. I would do the same thing. I would probably hard TP this if I'm being honest, just because I would want to be conservative about it, right? Depending on what day of the week this is too. Say this is a Friday, I don't want to hold it over the weekend, right? Or through news if there's news. So, to each their own. But I think Miguel, it's good. I mean, if you can swing this through a week, man, I would do it. Obviously, makes sense. I'd definitely take partials up here too, right? So
yeah.
So let's see. We'll manage this.
Hey guys. What are you backtesting? EU?
Yeah, EU. It's a Blackwatch. Why is
Hi,
there
Brian.
Hi guys.
Why is there a V in your name, man? You never explained that.
I don't know.
Sexy voice.
Yes, Brian. How you doing, pal? All right.
Good chain, you guys.
The main man is in.
He came in so cool and so smooth.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, he always does, doesn't he?
With the jazz music.
And sexy voice.
Yes. Yes, the main man's arrived.
Surely you can't hear that, can you?
The jazz music, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. All right.
Put you in an elevator.
I would throw limit there.
Yeah, same.
Would you not use this this sell to buy
Which one? This one here?
right here? No. one
This week's?
second. This one right here, and like use this as inducement. Yeah.
No. Personally, I wouldn't.
Okay.
Like you could. I get the logic behind it, but the problem with sell to buy wicks, the reason I don't like using them a lot is because there's just so many of them sometimes, right? And
Yeah,
they're not all
I
that
get that.
reliable. Like it's
No.
if anything.
And on this case, we already swept liquidity right here.
Yeah.
So this is the liquidity point. We don't need to have inducement here to tap into this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Only reason I thought about it because it was a trade just like that on EU yesterday. That
Liquidity master is here. He can answer that. Right, Brian?
I don't even know what we're looking at right now.
We're looking at EU.
I can barely see the time frame. Are you doing
This is
15
15.
stuff?
15.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay, I wanted to say though, you know where I will use this, and Brian uses it here too. He'll use this as the start of a chain. It's that whole thing. If you ever watch his commentaries, it's like the nondescript start of a chain, basically, right? If price taps into this and chains, we'll use it like 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. And the thing with the early stages of a chain is like it is pretty nondescript. It's not something you would ever like just trade off of, but if price reacts to it and something sets up after the fact, you can say that, oh, that was like the beginning of the chain kind of thing. But,
yeah. So I just want to mention my break-even point is up here, right? Yeah. So kind of our catalyst for pullback. I don't know if I'm even necessarily doing it right under Brian's rules, but I like to pick a zone like that. But I think
break even.
Now we're break even on this, so I'll do a little box here. We'll account for commissions too. Okay, we're gonna cover commissions on this, so we'll leave it a little bit higher. If price takes that out, then we're out. Okay. We're still in this one. Obviously, we're break even on this one too. I forgot to mention our break even point on that. Same thing. I'm gonna look to the left. Probably be this, right?
Yep.
So when price takes that out, take that out, right? Okay, so let's keep playing through. Wow, we're only like 2 days in, guys. It's crazy.
Are you doing all of April?
Yeah, we're gonna try to get through all of it.
Do you guys just start?
No.
Yeah.
Kinda. Wait, it's already been 47 minutes? Holy crap. It's okay. Maybe we'll go a little bit over. I don't mind. I was going to say, I like backtesting with you guys because I actually go through it slow compared to like how fast I run through it on my own. So
yeah, that's why I love these backtesting sessions also.
Yeah. It's good practice, man. Whoa. Okay, so obviously some sort of news.
Yeah.
The NFP?
I don't know.
Probably.
Go look at a calendar. What was April 2nd, 2021?
Yeah, it's Friday, the first Friday of the month. That was
so ideally we should have TP'd this, but that's okay. We go break even on it. Look. There you go. OP, you were right. For a second you were right anyways.
Yeah. It's NFP, you never know. I would have never took that anyways.
It gave a reaction, right? So it's still a valid demand zone.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like a strong reaction too, because on the 1 minute, that pushes pretty high back up into that zone.
That's what we're gonna do. So either we could remove this BE, or we'll just leave a limit here. Kind of cover. I want to cover this low, a little bit.
I would take a little bit careful on taking longs right now.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, Monday now. Potentially could, right?
Or what time of the day is this?
What time, what? That was 15 minutes, this is 4 hour.
No, but like, that was London or New York, or was that? I guess it's NFP, so it'd be New York.
So this was NFP, this is Sunday up until Monday Asia, right? Gotcha. So we're coming into London now. I mean, we could wait to play reaction, to be fair, right? I'm just thinking this could get used as liquidity, right? I think longs are really what we want to play, though. We want to continue to play. I'm not necessarily looking to play shorts.
What's happening here on the left? So you're using that as like a flip zone?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool.
So let's see. Ooh.
That's the initial reaction. Sweep. Oh, but this mitigated it. I see. Okay, no. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to catch up.
No, it's okay. Yeah. So we did not get tap break even yet. We would be technically in this trade as a scale in, which is not really a scale in. Okay, now we'd be break even on this one, right? So again, like either you could remove your stop or whatever. Or... Again, this is like really a risk entry what I'm looking to play here. Like it's pretty out there. If anything,
yeah, we are already bearish on the 15 right now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I told that probably longs wouldn't be the play right now.
Ooh, did you get tapped out?
Yep.
Okay, we'll take another one. So 2 Bs, 2 losses.
What this?
Oh man, look at that. You were close. Again, probably news,
lower time frame on that.
Yeah. So it looks like there's a nice chain forming here too, right? If anything, so I'm kind of interested in that. You have that huge wick, yeah. These honestly throw me off, but let's see what happens. And let's take a look at the 4 hour for a second again too, because
yeah, I don't do well with those.
I think we are reacting to something here. It's not super clean, but
we are reacting from this.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just barely tapping that. So let's be aware of it, right? Obviously swept liquidity too. I kind of want to see what that looks like on the 15 minute. Let's see.
Would you have taken something in here, like the way, because it looks like it chalked up on the 15
did, yeah.
after it came into like the zone, right? Maybe take like this.
I think we would have taken an L on this actually here. To be fair.
Oh yeah.
It swept lower. But I'm still pretty interested in the chain. The chain looks like decent to me, right? So let's see.
Aren't you worried about equal lows?
About what?
Like, if you was to like take a buy from here, aren't you worried about these equal lows down here? Like right here?
What equal?
Oh, here?
Yeah.
I think it actually swept it.
Yeah, it swept
Pretty,
it there.
pretty subtle.
Okay.
Yeah. But to be fair, there's liquidity here too, right? So it's like there's a lot of zones here that I would maybe be interested in as just POIs, right? To look for a chalk.
Might
and
be interested with this momentum on this zone if we have something like this.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see, what are we tapping into now though? 4 hour keeps like pushing up, right?
Right here.
We actually broke into 4 hour bullish. Alright. So I'll just quickly mark that out. Here is our 4 hour low here. Who's typing? Is that Brian?
That's me. My
bad. At this speed is Brian.
What it is. Definitely.
Let's see. So we're at this zone now, right? So this one got blown through. I agree. There is a nice flip there that you marked out there, Miguel. So we'll look at that. But
at this point, it would be internal range liquidity, don't you think?
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Let's see if we pull back, right? So again, to answer the question of a chalk, right? There's 2 places actually you could wait for a chalk here. This low, right? This would be your first one, and then I wouldn't even count this. Like I know some of you would, and probably on the 1 minute it is sure, but I would want to wait for like this to look for shorts, really, right? But then it's really bullish, so let's see what happens. I don't think this 4 hours is really gonna hold, because now we're taking out internal range liquidity too, right? We've taken out multiple levels. Remember what we were talking about? Just like we did on the flip side when we were taking out these lows and we saw like, you know, a ton of bearish price action. Now we're starting to see, you know, this is obviously reacting and holding now, right? This is a nice shift. And we got our daily chalk here as this 4 hour swing point got taken out. So, you know, just another way to look, like kind of look at it, I'd say. But yeah. Oh, hold on, let me make sure my OBS is on. Yeah, okay, we're good. So, oh shit, didn't mean to do that. Let's see, we've taken out this supply now too, right? Okay, so obviously
Did we sweep here? No.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So another observation for you guys, like running back to the whole like chalk conversation. Sorry, let me put this as a failure. Right, supply failure. The reason, you know what, like I would say even from like an intraday perspective, you probably could have shorted this, obviously, right? But in terms of like our chalk, right? Look, we broke this high again, and then this was kind of our major chalk, I'd say. Again, I don't want to count any of these smaller like wicks and stuff because it's whatever, right? It's more so like the major thing that I'm looking at for a 15-minute chalk. Let's see, this is why I would have wanted to wait for like this low to break and have multiple chalks in order to like look for shorts, right? And to really hold them too, right? Because you're trading against this huge impulsive leg, right? And again, this to me is IRL now, obviously in hindsight, but I also said it before it happened, right? There's a nice chain here kind of forming, right? So yeah, like longs don't look really out of play. To me, we could look to potentially play these. Let's wait till price comes back down because I want to see if it's going to sweep these lows and maybe come into the EQ of that zone that I marked out, right? Maybe not though. It's like really bullish. And it's just going.
I told you my target was that.
What's that?
I told you my target was that.
Yeah, I mean it hit it. If we didn't go break even on this, right? To be fair,
LOL.
Yeah.
15R, right? Pretty good.
I'm sorry to ask you a question. I'm new to this Phantom thing. So,
What's up?
is it a change of character over here also? Like, this is the break-off structure. Should we consider this as a break-off structure?
Where?
Do you mean like a 15-minute breaker structure or a change of character?
Yeah, on a 15-minute break-off structure, this one.
Okay, if we mark out swing structure really quick, I'll mark it out for you. I'll tell you what I would be looking at. Remember, I always start from the left, right? So if I'm trying to determine whether or not, well, you would determine because regardless, you'd be doing your markup, right? I'd kind of be looking at this. I wouldn't really count this as a pullback. This would be my whole swing point. So no, this would be substructure, just based on the fact that this is, yeah. Until, you know, this pullback happens, right? This is all complex pullback. That means this is valid, right? For longs technically, but like based on that, price pushes up, we break this high, right? And then that's why we're looking at these, right? But this, what you've marked out here is like substructure, right? And then in terms of chalks, it's what I've marked out here. This was your first chalk, right? It then technically failed because we pushed up higher, right? So you had your chalk, we swept the high, right? Then we got our true chalk here, right? Our first chalk, and then our second chalk down here as price technically wicked this, right? This is more of a sweep. Again, if this had closed lower, then I would have counted it as like a chalk, right? And looked to like play serious shorts here, right? But if anything, intraday shorts you could have played. But it's pretty rangy, so I don't know. What are we tapping into here? A daily? 4 hour? Yeah, the daily, right?
Daily.
The daily range, it looks like. So
Yeah. Probably
yeah, it's like super
it
low.
will range a bit, building liquidity to go a little bit higher and come down.
Yeah, so we can look even at like some of these zones here. I'll just mark them out as POIs. This one's okay. It doesn't. I don't really know if this is sweeping liquidity. This one at least kind of does. So this one's better. And again, likelihood that these are going to get swept is maybe... it's potentially there, right? Let's see. See if we get like a chalk or anything either. Or I mean as well. So I'm kind of looking at this now. Why kind of have like buy to sell wicks. Again, this is a very like subtle thing to kind of look at, but you guys see how we have a chain that's forming here and here and here. It's just chained a bunch of times. And now we finally broke up and violated, you know, Asia's high. So again, potentially you could look to play longs. Just want to be careful here because we're very high in the leg now, right? What do you guys think? Should we play this as a POI, just like we're playing these ones? Probably, right? I think that's what I'd do.
Yeah, I would too. And maybe cover the lows of the wick that swept liquidity.
Yeah.
Set here, make a higher card.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes when I see price push up and break multiple levels of supply, I like to throw a risk on. I can't even explain why. It's just that, like, it's almost like if price were here, I'd be looking to like leave a limit on this, right? Because a lot of the time I'd feel comfortable like with this getting swept and being tapped into this, knowing that, okay, maybe it'll take this out too, but it's kind of worth the risk, right? So I don't know, Miguel, if you would do this, but like this is the kind of thing I would like throw a limit on.
Probably not, because I think we are too high on the 4-hour leg,
All
and
right,
we are
that's fine,
bearish.
So
On
we can approach
higher
it.
trend.
We can approach it more the way that, like I said, Dan does, where it's like he waits for a reaction first, and then the retest, right? So obviously it's got a higher probability. But let's see if that one works out.
I would wait
Okay,
now
so
that
it
we
blows through it,
chopped.
right? And we did chalk, yeah.
I would wait to sell. That's what I would be waiting for.
Oh, we tapped in the 4-hour too, actually. With that.
Yeah. That's why I was told you that we are too high on the leg.
Oh, fair enough. Let's see. So that tapped into that. Again, if we want to try to play longs, I'm not saying we should. We would want to wait for that high to go, pretty much, right? But yeah, definitely could potentially play shorts off of this, because this zone that I was talking about before has now become a failure. Yeah, it's become a flip, right? And it swept liquidity of the reaction, the initial reaction in there, so that's pretty good. A lot of like good things going for this zone that just formed. So just mark it out like that, right? And this I would mark out like that, right? So what do you guys want to do? You want to leave a limit on there? Might get swept, but this looks, I mean, this is pretty messy. It looks like this is almost mitigated. I won't mark it out because my screen's kind of laggy right now, but this doesn't seem like the worst place to leave a limit. And maybe cover the high a bit though. Give it 10 pips or something.
Yeah, I would probably cover this.
This one here, yeah. So I'll go right there, and then we'll do +5. 9.9, there we go. Okay, that looks like it's gonna.
Now for me, that's a great zone.
This one here?
No, this one is a great zone because of this.
Yeah, because of the liquidity. Okay, I was gonna say, I don't think I'd throw a limit on this one, man. It's like a little bit sketchy. But let's see. Oh, it's starting to chain. Okay, there you go. There's your sweep. Okay, we're in. There you go. It's a nice push. Oh, we got taken.
And yeah,
I don't think we would have
because
gone.
I was afraid of that.
I take the extreme.
Yeah. So this one wasn't bad, but then it's weird. We didn't really tap very deep into this, so we swept that.
It's down on the left. Very it's down.
Swept liquidity here. Oh, you're saying this extreme up here? Yeah. Okay, we'll look at it as a POI for sure. I wouldn't leave a limit on this though. Maybe I would. I don't know. I feel like I have a bias toward taking shorts for some reason. Like I'm just better at doing it. I don't know why. Does anybody feel like they're like that too?
Yeah, all the time. When I first, it took me a while to learn how to buy, which is crazy. It took me a while to see it.
Yeah. Okay, this is starting to look better because we're building more liquidity. As a POI anyways, right?
And you just had another demand fail. That's what I was wanting to see. I want to see the demand fail. I want to see a supply hold first.
Well, we have this demand holding too, right? So gotta be careful of it. This one here. Let's see. Swept this. No, we kind of have these wicks too. I mean, we're trying to play in a range here. We should really probably stay out of this, to be honest. Right? Because look, it's just sweeping stuff left and right. There you go. Tapped into your extreme. So, if anything, I would wait for a chalk on this one, right? So there's our high, there's our low, and I'll play the reaction to it. Otherwise, I don't really trust this high so much because we're bullish overall, right? On the 4 hour and everything. Even though we're reacting to a 4 hour, like, I mean, there was a pullback, right? Obviously, just kind of blew through it, right? So it kind of goes against what I was saying with longs here, but I don't know. I think I have me personally. I don't know, Miguel, if you're like this too. I have like a certain affinity for like trying to chase like trades, right? In a sense,
yeah.
Where I'm more comfortable leaving a limit on something like this than like an extreme like this when we're counter trend. I mean, I guess it makes sense, right?
And this one was a good one, as we have structural liquidity around here that is swept.
Yeah, I agree. So let's delete this. It's getting a little messy, but. So I almost want to look at like these again, right? Because look, this one's swept. This is now a flip off of where, you know, okay, you wanted to short off of this, but it's okay. We would have been safe anyways, right? Because we didn't get our chalk. Price now swept it quite a bit too, but let's see. Again, we could play the reaction off of it, but like I said, the problem that I have with playing reactions is sometimes you don't get a second opportunity to get into it, right?
I would enter here.
Yeah, me too. That's
I would too.
A limit.
It swept a little bit of liquidity by the hair.
Yeah. So to give you guys perspective, right? Because there's multiple ways of trading. I know Dan, just based on the fact that we backtest, he'd be waiting for a chalk, and then even though this is pro trend, be waiting for a 15-minute chalk and a retest to play this long, right? And so he would have been safe on that, right? Obviously, we got swept out.
Yeah, I was also thinking this.
Let's see. I mean, it's good in a sense because then you avoid a lot of losses, right? But
you miss a lot of
just sweeping. This is some weird price action. Did anybody actually backtest this homework and get like a good R out of it?
I haven't backtested it yet, but this month looks difficult.
How are you? How are we on the 4 hours?
Whoa, 4 hour we are still bullish. Oh, we're in a 4 hour zone actually. So I'm gonna look maybe for 15-minute because we're pro 4 hour too, right?
And on daily?
Daily, definitely bullish too, right? Oh no, actually,
bearish.
No, we're still bearish.
We finished.
We got our chalk,
just that probably is we finished the pullback on the daily.
That looks
going
right.
to start a new impulse.
Okay, let's throw a limit on this or market execute this one. I think I have to be a little bit more aggressive to actually catch something here because I'm being a little bit conservative. What's up?
Would you want to buy after all these demands have been like, I know you said you would wait for the reaction, but all these demands that kind of like swept liquidity have been blown through. Would you still be willing to buy versus like trying to sell? We are in like a daily POI and also a 4H POI, and like we've chalked as well on the 15-minute. If you
Yeah, so this is what I'm doing here is very aggressive to try and long. Honestly, either off of both of these, right? Because we're sweeping internal range liquidity. So listen, we could play the reaction. I like throwing limits on stuff like this sometimes. Like, here's the other thing. It's kind of lining up with like New York session. So I typically expect like if you're tapping into a POI like really early New York or sometime in London, there's usually a good chance that it's gonna hold, even though it's like. It is very clearly a risk entry, right? That we're kind of putting on here. We could wait for a reaction. Honestly, let's test it. Let's see what happens, right? I don't know what's gonna happen.
Can we also throw a limit
you could even leave the limit on this too, right? Yeah. But yeah, in terms of sells, we could, right? We'd be in alignment with daily at least, but I'm still bullish on every other time frame, pretty much. Minus 15-minute. 15-minute is bearish, yeah. Obviously, right?
The only thing here for taking longs for me is that we are in the extreme of a daily, and daily is bearish.
Yeah.
That
so that's kind of a case against this.
That might be the end of the pullback. The expected order flow is to
and we have a ton of
look for a new daily impulse.
So let's see. So if you waited for the reaction, you'd be good on that. I took it off obviously because,
Yeah, I would agree with this one. For a sell.
To play sells, yeah. Okay, let's do it.
From right here.
We'll go market on this one, yeah. That looks decent so far. Oh, okay, took an L on that. Yeah. That's alright, guys. Don't worry, we'll recover it. Not a big deal. We're only down 5R. Not that bad. So I'll just move this out of the way for a sec. So we chalked bullish again though, right?
Yep.
Based on the fact that we took this low out, took this high out. So yeah, I'm kind of interested in this. Again, I know there's liquidity sitting here, right? But
wait, so hold on. Because I would put an order on that, right? Because you gotta flip, right? And that it doesn't sweep liquidity, right? So you can expect to play from the extreme, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
This one here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. I guess the hard thing about this too is we don't know when news is gonna hit. I could probably turn it on. Let's actually quickly do that because I think we're kind of getting screwed on a lot of news moves here too. Where is it again? Events. Okay. I just wish it would only show high impact because what's this one? Oh, it's orange news. That should be okay. Okay, we're in. There you go. Caught one. Thanks, Blackwatch.
That broke the high too, so you could demand chain it if it wants to come back. If it wants to come back, this failed to take the low, so I would say that we're.
That's it's a target.
Yeah. Right.
So what did you just see to put that on there though? I must have missed something.
So Yeah, I'll let Roberto explain because I think he understands. I want.
Yeah. So the reason we put it on the extreme is okay. There's a couple reasons actually. I'd say number one is the fact that we have kind of this chain that's formed. I was trying to get in a little bit too early, right? I was like, okay, I want a long here. I want a long here. I was trying to like chase it, right? That all got taken out. That's fine. It got used as liquidity. We tapped into this. Price pushed up. We have a flip here where you guys wanted a short. Threw that limit on. We got swept out, right? We essentially became the liquidity on that, right? As price tapped into this and we got some sort of an initial reaction, price pushed down, but it didn't really sweep anything here, right? So this is why we didn't look to like try to take a long off of this. And that's why we threw a limit on here, right? Because we were expecting, okay, this is probably going to get taken out, and we can play the extreme, right? And continue this chain, right? And that's why I'm marking out this chain here as well, because look, it's still holding. To be fair, we got liquidity sitting down here. That's kind of like the risk of throwing that limit on. But listen, that's the risk that you kind of take, right? With any of these longs that you're trying to play, whether it's here or here, right? So technically we could have even thrown a limit on this one too earlier, right? Because it's the same kind of logic. I mean, like some of these swept liquidity, which is again why I was like looking to play it. Like this one kind of did. Again, it's very subtle. You might want to look on a lower time frame in like the live market if you're trading the 50-minute to assess to see if this is like creating some sort of reaction and then sweeping it. I can kind of see that it did here. You have like an inside bar, so that makes sense to me. This one, on the other hand, again, this is a subtle difference, right? Like what are we really sweeping here? All that happened is price pushed up and then pushed down. There was no initial reaction and then push up, right? So kind of like this. If this was our supply level, price did this rather than this, right? And then we could have played that, knowing that there's a risk of that getting swept anyways, right? So we played the extreme. Hopefully that explains it. Delete all those. Okay, so yeah, what's up, Abdul? You have a question? Let's quickly see here. So we can either target this high, though. Look, we're failing to. Well, we reacted to this, and now we're holding demand, right? So demand's in control clearly. I say we hold this, honestly. Miguel, you want to go crazy and just target up here or something?
On this one, as this high created a new low, I would target this one.
Oh, you target this high? Oh, this one.
No, I will target this one. I will target this one. That failed.
Okay, that's fair.
Because this one created a new low here. It's a strong high.
Yeah.
We can take 90% or 80% here and let the rest run to the next.
I don't really personally don't see this as a strong high because it's failing to break.
This one, no. This is a weak high.
Oh, you're saying this high though. Yeah, this one I agree.
This high is a strong high because it broke structure here.
Okay, wouldn't we consider this as a strong high, or like the levels right here, just due to the fact that like I wouldn't really consider this as a high because it wasn't like the highest point.
I would say I see this more.
This as my extreme almost.
Yeah. This isn't really relevant because, like, I mean, okay, it could hold. Yeah, it could hold, but like, look, it kept failing to break this low.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's even necessarily the reason, but that's how I'm kind of seeing it, right?
Yeah. For me, those highs didn't anything.
Yeah, it's this one that did it, right? Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And again, like, look, like equal highs, right? So there's very clearly, liquidity sitting there.
There's a possibility. There's a possibility.
That's why I almost want to target this. Yeah. So listen, if we were doing partials, obviously I'd do the same. I'd probably TP a good amount up here, but I say let's just hold this and try to recover a little bit. I mean, we could go back break even.
Let's go crazy.
Hard TP. Yeah, let's go crazy. Let's do it. We'll do it for the sake of the call, right? Yeah. So another thing I kind of see here that's happening, and these work sometimes, right? Is price is starting to change here. Now I'm not looking to play it right away because it's probably going to get swept, right? But let's see. I'm just gonna mark it out to see kind of what happens, but we won't throw a trade on it.
So we've definitely gone break even before we go crazy. Let's make sure our risk off the table.
Yeah, so break even would have been here for me.
Yeah,
right? The catalyst for the pullback, right? Or you could do up here if you want to be conservative about it. So I'll put my break-even point here, but I would also not be opposed to throwing a limit on this. So
one of the things I'm trying to figure out too is like we have bullish order flow, right? Because we took that high to the left.
Yeah.
And now we're like in a complex pullback. But when we went bearish, we've now switched back to like a bullish order flow, even though we haven't broken this high yet. So one of the things I'm kind of wondering, I guess, is like if it comes back into demand, right? Because at this point, we're holding demand, we're demand chaining. We haven't quite taken out this high yet.
Yeah. It's doing it on both sides.
If we get taken
really.
out here, is that something that you'd want to get back in on? Because it's technically still supposed to break this high, right? Because expectation order flow would say that the high has to go.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, this is probably a good place to hedge then, if anything, right? Because look, we are chaining off of this guy here, right? We're chaining on both sides. Price is compressing. That's the way that I'm kind of like seeing it, right? I don't know. Let's see if we can pull back into that and maybe take a short, just to hedge our risk, right? For those of you that live in the US, I'm sorry.
I throw a limit on this.
What, this?
No, on this buy.
Which one?
For the buy down here, yeah.
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah, so again, but remember, based on what Blackwatch is saying too, right? We're failing to break highs. Like, all we're really doing is breaking internal highs, right?
But what more so what I mean is that when we did break this high, we came down bearish and we failed to take this low.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Run bullish again. Is this an internal range liquidity zone or is this an extreme?
That's an extreme.
Is it?
It's an extreme.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, hold on. Let's look at it for a second, because it's both technically. Oh wait, sorry. This one here. Right?
That's internal range liquidity.
Yeah, this is IRL. I agree.
Because this here was like your kind of first barrier. Once that broke, in theory, I mean, this is like a pretty significant zone because I'm pretty sure this is like probably weekly supply. I would assume this is weekly supply. So it is, I don't know, maybe that is a bit risky, to be honest.
Yeah.
But regardless, in theory, this was your first kind of level that broke and then implied the rest might want to go.
Yeah.
So if it were to hold true, I would, like you said, it's probably best to hedge. If you can find a short, find a short. If you can find another long, find another long. I think is probably the best bet.
Yeah, I think hedging is probably a good way to approach it because, again, strong high, right? And we want to go crazy and hold this, like we should probably hedge the risk. But another thing I want to mention to you guys, right? If we're looking at retail strategies, right? We have this. I'm like half joking, obviously, when I draw this out, but in a sense, we're playing a demand chain at the bottom of like a squeeze, right? So for those of you that came from like retail, you kind of know what I'm talking about. But that's kind of actually what makes this risky is the fact that with liquidity sitting on both sides, right? Price is compressing. So, oh no, I just did that.
No. I gotta step off, guys, but it's good chatting with you guys.
No worries.
I'll catch you guys later. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Take it easy, man.
You too.
Have a good weekend.
Yeah.
Nice
having you on.
Hey, question on what you guys were just saying, man. And this is what I've been having a little issue with. He just said that it just turned bullish. Now, identifying your bearish and bullish trend, what exactly are you guys going off? Are you going off the swing high of a 15 to say that the 15 is bullish? Or how are you identifying that? Because I haven't been taking a chalk as,
Yeah, so to answer your question, there's three things I'm always looking at. Number one, swing structure, right? What I marked out basically at the start of the call, and I do it on pretty much every call. So, and I think you've been here for the other ones, right, Abdul? So you know.
No. I just came from praying, man. So I came in late.
No worries.
So I just been watching. But when he made that, I figured that when he said that statement, I figured it was a great time for me to chime in that question because it was pertaining to what was being said.
It's a good question. It's the easy answer is, like I said, there's three things, right? Number one always is structure, right? But then what can kind of throw structure out of whack and violate, just like the simplicity of structure? You have to combine it with other things, right? Are we tapping into a higher time frame POI, right? Are we chalking on those higher time frame POIs or the current one that we're in, right? It's kind of that, and then on top of that, liquidity, right? Are we sweeping internal or external range liquidity? Because again, like for me to, I guess let me illustrate it, right? Because there's, let's just draw like something like this, right? Where we kind of have a trend or whatever, or it's ranging, right? So okay, look, say we're bullish because we're taking out, you know, multiple things, right? And then you also want to combine it with the fact that, like, you know, maybe you have supply zones in here that are internal range liquidity, they're getting taken out, right? Price is pushing up. So we're bullish, but then at the same time we're tapping into, you know, a higher time frame zone, right? And then we're also sweeping external range liquidity like this. So that to me is a bearish thing, telling you this is, you know, pretty strong high. Why else is it a strong high? Because we broke this low, right? So from the 15-minute perspective, 15 minutes probably like this, right? This is a 4-hour overall chart, right? So we're bullish, right? But then we're tapping into this, and then maybe we get a chalk. Then this kind of tells me, okay, potentially we can try to play like some sort of bearish price action, right? And then on top of that, right, this kind of pertains again to like zones, right? And liquidity in a way. Well, maybe not liquidity, but more so the fact that we have, like, you know, order flow shifting in one direction or the other, right? So now we're potentially chaining, and maybe all the way to the left we have another zone up here that price had tapped into, right, on the 4-hour, and we're chaining on the 4-hour, right? So 4-hour keeps holding, bears keep holding, right? So at the very least we can expect we're going to get a pullback from this, even though it's technically counter to like maybe our 15-minute swing trend, right, which would kind of be like this, right? You want to consolidate the small pullbacks, right? So here's my swing low, right? Or higher highs, higher lows on the 15-minute. This is where I'm maybe expecting it to hold, right? I can look to play the pullback up until here or even down to here, right? And then play along like that, right? So it's me like not just me, but like all of us, we're combining a bunch of different concepts to try and, again, guess like what's going to happen next, right? Because that's all we're doing is guessing. We don't know what's going to happen. Again, price could blow through here. Price could blow through here for all we know, right? But what can we, like, you know, try and guess is going to happen with like decent probability, and then try to like throw a trade on to capture the volatility in the market, right? So those 3 things I'm pretty much looking at. Technically it's 4 things if you want to include like supply and demand chains, right? But it's liquidity, structure, liquidity, and if we're in like a higher time frame zone, right? And liquidity, again, like it encompasses so many different things. Obviously I was talking about internal range liquidity here. You have external range liquidity here that's getting taken out. Technically this would be internal. And same with this would be internal as well, right? Does that kind of answer the question? What do you guys think? Hopefully that makes sense. I basically just gave you a crash course on how to like trade the way that we trade, or like how to look at, you know, our biases, but that is such a like simple and diluted way of answering it. Obviously going through the course and like back testing and stuff is how you train the skill to like learn how to do that, right? It's not so like clear cut and simple, I'd say.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we got more liquidity here. We're getting a little reaction off of this, but it's probably not going to hold. That gets taken out. Okay, cool. So there's nothing wrong with marking these zones out just to see like what happens, right? And if it does react and hold, then we can kind of like break down why it did it. But okay, we're still in our long here. Don't think we're break even yet. I don't think it's gonna tap in, but this would definitely make me sweat if I were in this long, and I'd be like, yeah, gotta be careful here. So if anything, if you guys want, let's hedge this. We kind of have a chain that's developed here. We just gotta be careful of like the liquidity that's generated, right? Because again, we're compressing into like a wedge in a sense. So the way that I would like to do it is probably cover this high up here, just in case we sweep like some of this stuff here, right? Or what we could do is even move this up a little bit to like the 75%, and then.
So at that catalyst for the pullback, would you have gone break even if you were actually in this trade live? At that catalyst for the pullback where it came into the area where you took the loan, would you have gone break even there?
Here?
Yeah, right.
Here?
No, up one more. Right there. Would you have gone break even there?
I probably would have done it here, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It depends. If it's a 1 minute, obviously, like, I'd do it sooner. But for the 15-minute, I can see why. Like, I think Miguel was saying he would do it here, right, Miguel?
Yeah.
Wait a little bit, because then you at least give it some breathing room. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
okay.
because this was the movement that stepped us into the trade.
I'd almost say this is better. Yeah. Because then you're kind of looking more at like, this is not the swing structure necessarily.
This is substructure.
Yeah, this is like very, very substructure.
Yeah.
So.
Just in case we get taken out of this buy, would you like not want to look to re-enter here, just in case like we do get into the short?
Whoa.
There was
get taken out?
No.
It looks like there was news, to be honest. So I'd probably want to stay out of it, but.
Okay.
I don't know. Would this have taken us out? Yeah, probably, right? Oh, you know what? Here's the thing that I forgot to mention with this. Would we have gotten break even? Maybe, right? It's kind of arguable, right?
No.
We're kind of like talking about semantics here, but like the thing is, if you're trading the 15-minute, this is probably such a small lot size. Your commissions are not going to be so big that you have to cover this much. So, you know, let's leave this on just for the sake of it. I kind of want to see like where it runs, right? We'll take an L on that. That's fine. So
I would probably add another entry here.
Yeah, that's fair too. Or you know, the better thing to do, honestly, if you're in a situation like that, again, because it's news, I'd probably close out of it personally. But I don't even know if it was. Maybe it wasn't.
Yes, I'm already break even on this one. I wouldn't mind of
throwing that on.
Capital here.
Or you just open your risk on this again, like one or the other, right?
At least to cover this low.
Yeah, that's fair. And you probably get a better R on it too, right?
If it breaks this, probably it will go lower.
Yeah. So, you know, we'll leave this one on because it seems like the consensus here is like, yeah, you'd probably leave a limit on it, right? I guess the other thing to like kind of answer what Blackwatch was talking about before, the fact that we had demand and supply kind of holding in terms of like chains, the reason I think I personally would have been biased toward longs is because we're coming from bullish price action, right? Even though we're tapping into a 4 hour, it's like, remember, it's IRL, right? Good chances, you know, maybe going to get taken out. We'll see. You're probably going to get a pullback from here, so I don't know what's going to happen, but would not be opposed to continuing to play this chain, you know?
No.
Because it's still pretty nice. Let's see. Oh man, there's maybe this too. So this is potentially the start of a new chain too, right? But you got to be careful with playing these because, again, they get used as liquidity sometimes, right? You got to be really careful. See, even this does not look bad to me. Miguel, I think you would enter this, wouldn't you? Or no?
No.
Huh?
It's too high.
That's fair. The reason I would look to do this, I'll just explain to you guys again. It's an aggressive thing. I'm not saying you guys need to do it, right? You could be more conservative.
Now I would probably
because we took this up,
right? On this because we have all this liquidity here sitting.
Yeah. Okay, so there you go. Yeah, like I was gonna say, because we took this out, right? This IRL again, it's more like fuel for the fire for price to push up, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy because when you think about it, we kind of came into this thinking like everything was bearish, right? Until price unfolded, we got like a reality check, right? So we adjusted to it a little bit. Took a bunch of L's, that's fine.
Don't stick to a bias.
Yeah, there's a reason you don't stick to a bias, yeah. Because of that.
Exactly.
Let's see. This looks like it's reacted to this guy here, right? We're starting to build a chain here, but this is probably liquidity. You got to be careful again. You don't want to necessarily like.
Yeah, I would enter here.
You would enter there? All right,
yeah.
We'll do it for you. Miguel?
Yeah, we swept,
I honestly wouldn't.
Even though we have equal highs here, we are in starting a chain.
Yeah.
We swept liquidity on the
equal
left.
Lows, you mean? Equal lows?
So I would probably enter to you.
Yeah. Cover this low though, right?
Yeah.
All right, I think it's a good call.
And we are break even.
There you go. Good call, man.
Yeah, I've been training my scalings.
So Miguel, quick question for you because I want to break down your logic a little bit so everybody kind of understands it, right? We didn't take out any of these levels of supply yet, right? So what gave you the confidence to enter here? It's just as a scale in, or
yeah, here as we started the chain, we've reacted. This reaction here broke this structure. Yeah. Also, this one right here, we reacted to this.
Okay, yeah.
We reacted to this. This one broke here. So for me, this is a structural liquidity. We swept it, and then for me, this is continuing the chain of demands, and it's a liquidity point. Even though we have equal highs,
Yeah.
I am confident enough because of this chain that we have and already swept liquidity to the left.
Okay, got it. That makes sense. So, I think for me, okay, there's two things for me personally, just looking at it. Number one, the chain is a big part of it, because that obviously like shows that we have like bullish order flow kind of on our side, right? It's holding.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I kind of want to say that in a sense, because we didn't violate the chain at any point, and we're coming from a bullish market, it makes sense, right? Even though it's high in the leg, I think it's kind of a riskier trade for sure, but these are obviously like relatively weaker highs compared to our lows, right? Because this isn't really chaining. I mean, it's chaining almost as liquidity to get taken in the future,
but it
right?
didn't break anything.
Yeah, it didn't break anything, exactly. Like if anything, here's where I know people get tripped up though. This liquidity here, what you think is a break is just a sweep into a zone, right? So you kind of got to be careful with that. But look where we're coming from, right? It's bullish. Of course, we can try to play the pull or like the reversal or whatever, but that's where you can get screwed too. So let's look at targets really quick for this one, because we're kind of running these two now, right? So we have this one too, that Miguel, you want to just go crazy again? Target this one?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Equal highs, internal range liquidity.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's sitting right here too, right?
Yeah.
I think in a live market, I'd probably want to, because I'd expect a pullback. That's the thing. Yeah.
On this zone, as my RR would be low.
Yeah.
I would probably hold everything till here.
For me, if anything, because remember, it's the whole idea of like you take out a equal highs or some sort of structural external range liquidity.
Price may pull back.
It's gonna pull back, yeah, because that's typically what happens, right? So let's see what happens. I think we want to maybe cool it on trying to take longs from there.
Can you put it there again? I would pay attention to this level.
Yeah, here, right?
Yeah,
I'll mark it up. You can observe it.
It's a sweep. It's a flip. I would pay attention to that level, because we have inducement here, and price usually tends to react after sweeping inducements.
Yeah, we got a little sweep, push down, right? And
yeah.
Agree. Yeah, very nice, like 4-hour flip. Then obviously the extreme, but it's weird. The extreme looks like it's almost been mitigated, not fully, but partially, right?
Yeah.
By like the candles that are beside it, literally. Ooh, this one's weird. Did it tap into it? Yeah, it did. Just barely. Yeah, this is what I mean by these getting kind of mitigated, because you have this. This technically mitigates this. So if anything, you have this one, but like not the best zone, because it didn't sweep anything, right?
Yeah.
So let's see. We'll go crazy with it, but let's be careful of pullbacks. Obviously, we're break even on this too, right?
Yeah.
And we would have re-entered this
or right here.
Moved our stop. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Building liquidity again. So this looks like it's probably gonna hold, but again, like, do we want to take longs this high up? Maybe, maybe not, right?
No.
Liquidity. Sweeping. Let's see. This is probably going to be one of those situations. I feel like I see this all the time. Price does not tap into...
Window of imbalance.
yeah, it is a window of imbalance. Or the way I personally see it, I don't even think window of imbalance. I just think, okay, it's sweeping, and then it's going to push up from here.
Yeah.
And it's like, would I take it? Not necessarily, but like, good chance it's going to kind of go up from there. Okay, you're break even on this one, Miguel, right? Do you want to enter this one too?
Yep.
Yeah, just in case we get taken out? Or do you want to just move your stop loss back?
No, I would
rather enter again.
Enter that.
Let's see.
I think it's a good entry.
I usually, when I go break even, I don't cover my commissions.
That's fair. Yeah, maybe on the 15-minute, I'm just thinking it's like not worth doing. But even if you did cover commissions, right? Again, it depends on the size of your account, number one, and like how many lots you're doing, right?
Are we gonna target the top as well again?
This would be my break-even level on that trade.
All right, fair enough. could also maybe hedge, but I don't think that's a good idea. Oh, the other thing I was going to mention, if you guys use a trade copier and you are splitting between multiple accounts, you can actually almost get, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the logic makes sense, right? Because I've kind of done it before. If you have, say, like 400k accounts with a prop firm, right? Technically, you can get your stop loss or your break even and cover commission tighter, right? Rather than having a 400k account like this and you're doing 4 times the lot size and covering the commission for all of them, right? Yeah. So just a little, like, I guess, tip for you guys if you guys are doing trade copying. Anyways, we're in on this one, right? We've obviously chalked here, right? This should hold, but let's see.
Let's hope so.
I hope so too.
Looks good.
I'll say that we're in both of them. It does look pretty good. But
Yeah.
there's a ton of liquidity sitting below.
He usually likes to retest the entry.
Yeah.
2 or 3 times.
50%.
And we're out
Okay,
of
so
the
we're
first
break even
one.
on this guy here, right?
Yeah.
That's okay. We got back in. No biggie. Okay, this high is probably gonna get run now. All this liquidity.
Yeah, that's liquidity sitting.
There you go. Right.
There we go.
There we go.
Now I would.
I'm break even. I'm so scary. I'm break even right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
We're gonna wait
agree.
till
I'm
here,
saying,
though.
mate. I'm well break even. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, screw that bull. Screw all that bull margin. Let it go.
Now I'm break even.
Now we're break even.
Now
You
we're
gotta stick to the plan.
Yeah. Don't get
You have
worried.
to. You have to trust yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Miguel's right. You
I ain't
should.
gonna lie to you guys. I mean, hey, we here to be honest. I would have broke that thing even sweating to death.
Yeah.
You gotta ask yourself, why are you sweating over a trade? Shouldn't be, right?
No,
This
this,
is one trade.
this should be an automated process.
It's just when you need 10% for FTMO, that's when you're sweating.
Now, I would enter there. This is a flip zone. We swap liquidity here, equal lows. So this is a good liquidity point, following demand chain.
So Miguel, would you throw this one on? I just kind of threw it on. I wasn't really thinking about it, but yeah,
I would.
Let's take it. Miguel and I are in this together, okay? Let's see if it taps us in.
And then, and we're in? No,
not yet. Now we're in. There you go.
She blows.
Solid.
And my break even would be here.
Yeah, same. Pretty much the same point as last time. There we go. Now we're kind of getting into the flow of it. Oh man, don't sweep us out.
Yes.
Okay, no, we're out.
And we're
We
out.
get taken out.
Oh, we got taken out of everything.
Oh, everything.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Wow.
that's okay.
Don't we
Oh
start
no,
out
actually,
cheap?
sorry, that'd be break even.
Oh.
So break even 7. Oh, actually, we
Here.
break even on all of those, pretty much, minus this one, right? So
Yep.
it'd be 6, I think.
I would put an order here or here to short it.
I agree. Let's try to recover now.
Yeah.
Well, truth be told, I wouldn't have actually went for a long right there, honestly.
You're kidding?
No, this was risky because we are too high in the leg.
Yeah.
We are
Well,
just trying.
Well, it's not even that it's just too high in the leg. There's unmitigated demand beneath it that has a massive amount of liquidity, and then those two demands that created equal lows were respected. So when price pushed up, but it didn't push that far above, I wouldn't see any point to immediately put a long there, simply because of the fact that I know that demand.
Oof.
Yeah.
If we're going bullet and price was set at some point, so if all of that would be the liquidity at all of those V-shaped requirements that are going to be respected, then I wouldn't be surprised if because I was thinking just.
Hey, Pilo, I think you're, I don't know if it's my internet or yours, but I can't understand what you're saying, man.
Me neither.
Yeah, it's cutting.
Yeah.
You sound like a robot, dude.
Sorry, I was just drawing out what it actually reacted off that.
That's okay. Oh wait,
Do I sound better?
Oh, we're still in this trade. Shit, I forgot. What did we target here?
We targeted those guys on the daily.
Behind?
Oh, that.
Yeah. So we want to TP this already and just recover our losses? Like.
No.
No?
No.
You just want to hold it?
No.
I want to hold it.
All right.
At least I will only take out if we make
we
a
chalk. Yeah. Okay. Shit, I actually thought we were like in deep doo-doo here, but I think we're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, hold it with that.
Now we TP.
Impulse there.
Now we TP that.
TP now?
No, I don't know if we reached it
No,
or
not quite. Not quite. Let's see. I'm good with holding it too.
Now we are.
Yeah. So is that 12.91?
How many yards on that one?
Oh, sorry.
Wasn't that like 11?
Yeah, 12.91.
We are already positive.
There you go. We recovered to 6R. It's pretty good.
What time did this move actually happen?
In April?
Yeah.
Oh, right here?
What time in the day is that move?
Oh, this is Asia. Asia.
Asia, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird time.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty crazy, right?
Yeah.
And then it picked up in London. Like,
this whole price
crazy.
action was actually in the refined course, which is crazy. I remember it now.
Do you?
When Brad was explaining structure, yeah.
I didn't even know that.
I've seen this course so many times. I remembered it.
As you see, we have 7 losses, 6 break even, 1 win, and we are positive.
And we're positive.
It's crazy you just said that. That's the same thing that was going through my mind. Yo, I was like, holy crap, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be like that.
What do you think, Miguel?
But if you look back when he just
and we are risking, and we were risking a lot taking these trades so high on the leg.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah. I was just
those losses could be avoided.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And look how well positioned that first trade was. Like, just go back and look at like when he zooms out. Look how well positioned that trade is.
One, right?
Yeah,
we were playing the chain. Yeah, absolutely. It sucks because like this is a weird month. It seems like because there's a lot of stuff that like this one we got taken out. Arguably, you might have stayed in on this if you'd like covered the low a bit. Like we got taken out by a tick on that, so that's frustrating. This would have been otherwise like a huge trade, right? 13R. Whatever. Listen, that's how backtesting goes sometimes. I've told you guys this before. I backtest. It's not like I'm profitable every time I backtest. I have like bad days. Part of it is I don't want to blame you guys because it happens when I do it with Dan too, where if I get too many obviously I'm in the driver's seat. If I get too many like different conflicting opinions on where you guys want to enter and stuff, it throws off like the way that I do it, right? Sometimes when I backtest alone, I find it's easier than like backtesting with Dan, for example, right? Or doing these calls. But then sometimes I backtest better with you guys, right? Because we slow down, we think about it, right? I told you guys before, I have a habit of backtesting too fast sometimes, and I just don't think about it. And it works sometimes, and it's good for like training your subconscious. But like this, like short, I just
when I do that
alone,
alone,
right?
I miss a lot of trades. I take around 2-3 trades a month if I backtest them a month alone because I'm going too fast on the price.
That's gonna get taken out for sure.
Yeah. I like more this extreme.
Yeah, this extreme looks nice.
Yeah. The extreme's kind of been tapped into already, but let's see.
It might run it. It might.
I would use only the week. On that case.
Ah, okay, yeah, I agree.
And for me, this would be inducements as it break levels here to the left.
I like this one because we swept and then pushed down, but here's the other thing. This is where you kind of have to maybe change, not change, but like adapt a little bit your break even, right? Where you should probably be breaking even a lot sooner because you're so counter trend, right? We're trading against again another big impulse, right? So if we get swept out of this, that's fine. We'll maybe play the extreme, but we might stay in.
Usually on these cases, what I do is, or I break even on a substructure closer.
Yeah, like this.
Or else I would take partials at 1.4 if my break even level is too far.
Another L there. That's okay. Let's push this up. Sorry, my computer's really struggling with this, guys, but I don't know why. Maybe because I'm using the TradingView app instead of my browser.
Yeah, TradingView app takes a lot of RAM.
Yeah.
I love the TradingView app.
Yeah, but I'd still use that any day.
And
oh no, took another one. 10% strike rate. You guys like that? Pretty funny.
Where are we on the 4 hours?
So we're continuing bullish, amazingly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just IRL, right?
Like, daily.
IRL here, right? Got taken
Yeah,
out.
we are probably going here. This zone.
Yeah. I think we already swept that too. Yeah. Oh, you're saying this one up here? Yeah.
Yeah. The extreme that swept here.
So let's see. Let's see if we can either continue playing longs or take some shorts too, right?
At the moment, I would wait a reaction from those level, from that level.
Yeah, we should wait for a 4-hour chalk probably for to try and play this. It's just so bullish, right?
Yeah.
Getting slapped around. Let's see. So I'm kind of curious to see if there is something going on here. Sorry, let me just move this a little bit. Building liquidity here.
Does that supply even? Is that supply even in premium?
Which one?
The one that we just tried to take a short off of.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, within this range, yeah. But and technically.
No, I'm talking about on the
range.
I'm talking about on the bigger time frame, the 4 hour that you.
Oh, sorry, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
it
Oh
is
yeah,
on the
yeah,
zone.
absolutely, yeah.
It's the extreme.
It's the extreme of it, pretty much, yeah. Of the overall range, but I guess it depends on how you look at it too, right? You could look at it like this range.
Yeah, I was going
right?
from the very top to the very bottom.
Oh, you're
the
saying
whole
here?
leg.
Ah, like this.
Yeah, but that's daily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's daily.
Yeah, I was
That's,
saying the
Yeah,
whole leg.
we're in premium, yeah.
that's the daily leg. We are already in premium on the daily leg.
Yeah. Okay.
This one looks like it wants to go long, but let's see. I don't know.
Well, if it's gonna go long here, then that means that at the top of the leg, that part of the leg will probably get liquidated then, because that means that it'll be a target. And if that's the case, then that'll probably become the beginning of a supply chain to push price down.
I would like to play this.
Yeah, like that's pretty clear. Like if we look at 4 hour, I'm pretty sure we chalk now too. So almost. No, actually maybe not. Let's see when we take this low out. I'll just make a mark of it.
Yeah.
So that's our 4 hour chalk that low. Okay, just keep that in mind, guys. We can take shorts now. Just be careful, right? It's good we got multiple 15-minute chalks. At least we had that, right? The other thing that I've been kind of doing is 1 hour chalks seem to work well if you're playing like super counter trend. Again, it's adding another thing into it, maybe changing your plan a bit, but I don't know, it seems to work. I know it works for Dan. He does it a lot. I don't really do it, but it's something we've tested the last week. So yeah, a couple of zones we can look at here. This one,
I would
again,
prefer
failure
this
of
one.
demand, right? Swept. I agree, Miguel. Let's maybe play this one.
This
because look-
didn't swept anything.
yeah. I would say it's swept this inside bar here, but again, like this is obviously better priced. Like I prefer this. Actually, the way I would draw this is like this, right?
I'll
And
build
this
liquidity
sweep
though,
maybe
innit?
a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And we could cover the
Yeah,
high or not.
If we
What do you
build the
think?
liquidity here, then yes, we can play from here.
Yeah, build the liquidity. I'd take that.
Yeah. Wait, so did you guys want to take this?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it built this liquidity right here. I'd now consider that. Otherwise, I'd see
Yeah,
that as
yeah,
a sweep
that's fair.
and then take that.
Oh, you're saying here? Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. Because
Okay, we'll throw this one. We'll throw this one on. I think that's good. We'll cover this wick a little bit though.
if it didn't build this liquidity, then here.
Yeah.
Is that how you see inducement? I'm just trying to see like your thought process.
Well, the reason I even marked it out is because it's swept liquidity here, right? And then push
no,
down.
I was talking about the other one.
Oh, this one up here?
No, this the one that I think Shane was talking about.
Yeah. Because it built its liquidity here. It's building something to sweep before it can go, so it's obviously decisional.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is obviously the preferred one, isn't it, with the sweep?
Yeah.
But with it building that liquidity right there, I'd take the risk on this one here. Sweep that, bang on.
So you guys know the models in backtesting that I've posted and like shown in the past.
If this comes straight up one go, then I won't take it. But because it's reacted here, built that liquidity, then I'd consider I'd take that, no problem.
Makes sense.
Interesting. Okay, cool.
So for those of you that know like the models, right, that I use, same thing. I use on 1 minute, 15 minute. What Shane's talking about here is model B, where you have liquidity after the fact, right? Where like your demands failed, right? And then technically this is model A, B, so it has both, right? Because model A is you have liquidity first and then sweeps and then we break the demand, right? But then the fact that we have both, I call it A, B, which is really like the highest probability, like decisional type continuation play that you can play, right? This one here is just B, right? Because I don't know if you necessarily want to call this a sweep. It's very subtle, right? It's not like an inside bar or anything. You'd have to look on the 5 minute to see what's even happening here, right? So yeah, I think this is a good short to be in. We're counter trend, right? So we maybe want to like target here or something. I don't know. What do you guys want to target?
I'll be break even now anyway.
4 hours.
Yeah,
4 hours, what?
Yeah,
what is our next demand level on 4 hours?
Yeah, maybe let's target that actually and recover this a little bit.
Yeah.
Here.
It's the same as 1 minute. In 1 minute target, it's 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's
zones.
True. Well, let's see here. Yeah, I think that's worth targeting. See if we get down there, but either way we're break even, so our risk is off the table. It's good.
Exactly.
At least we're positive too, right? Okay, looks like we have a chain starting here. We'll finish the whole month, by the way, guys, if you guys are good with it. I know we're kind of going over the 2 hour mark, but if you guys are cool with that.
Yeah, definitely, Rob. Good man.
So you guys see this chain that's forming? It's probably liquidity, but do you guys want to get swept? We can, if you guys want to play like that.
Let's wait until this demand go, because this demand just held again. If this demand goes right there to the left where we broke even, then I would say we could possibly like right there, boom.
Yeah, now I would enter it. There you go. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Abdul, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was obviously like kidding a little bit, right? But there you go. You're thinking about it. You're not just entering blindly, right? Though I take trades like that sometimes, right? And same with like that other like long that Miguel took. Like sometimes they hit. You gotta hit him. Oh, would have been good, but now I think it's kind of expired. It's good for our original short though, right?
Yeah.
Did I forget to record any? I can't remember. We took that L. Okay, we're in this one now. I think we're good, right? Because I recorded those ones. Let's see. I'm hoping we come all the way down to that 4 hour, but okay, do we want to leave that limit on before I take it off?
Yeah.
I would. Yeah.
I would. Leave it on.
Man, that's coming in fast.
It's pretty clean, right?
Ooh, that came in fast.
It's not that far in the
That's the
zone.
only thing, right?
No, there we go.
Imagine this. If you were on the 1 minute, you probably would left this on, because it wasn't too far from the zone.
Okay, we're still safe on our original position, so it's okay. But
yeah.
See, look, we got swept. Even though we broke structure, right, and made kind of new chain structure in a way. Well, no, we didn't make new chain structure, sorry, but we pushed down deeper, right? There's still that chance you get swept, right? What did it come into? These wicks here, right? So whatever, it's out of our control. It's like not a big deal. That one gets swept too. That's okay. I think Miguel, for that one we would have waited for a reaction anyways, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I wanted to see some demand levels to fail. Now it was the one that I would play.
I like that it swept this now. That's pretty nice,
Yeah.
right? When you see a
Exactly.
sweep like that, either it's a chain we're playing or we're playing a sweep, right? So this one's not bad. Not opposed to taking that. I'm still
Right.
pretty short biased on this because we have a lot of like ground to cover here. Where
Yeah.
you know, price could fill in balance. You know, hate to say it, but it's true. Ooh,
We are off
taking out
everything.
and break even. I think on this one. Yeah, it's okay. Oops, 2.9. Guys, we're still positive. I think if I were having a month like this, I'd probably like stop trading for the month though. To be honest, I'm not kidding.
That's news.
Can we throw a limit on this?
On what?
This was news. We wouldn't trade at this.
Oh really? Oh yeah, yeah, the thing. Okay, makes sense. But cool question. If it wasn't like news, would we be willing to throw a limit on this right here?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, really, we
After we broke
this.
all these levels and started breaking supply levels, I wanted to see a reaction and the demand level to be broken.
Yeah.
So I can take shorts again.
Okay.
We could try to play this pullback. This is how you
Yeah.
trade news. If you guys want to try.
Yeah.
Where you don't even wait for a chalk. You're just literally playing the pullback of it. But you guys want to do it? We'll do it.
Yeah, we can.
I've kind of learned how to do it. I don't like trading it live, but in back testing I'll do this sometimes.
But I would trade this short term. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Like I would look to TP like pretty quick.
Yeah.
It's not even worth taking. Look, it's 3R, right? And I'm looking to BE as soon as like we take out like this high. If it happens, let's see.
Probably this side.
Yeah, the small one, yeah. Ooh. Okay, another L. It's okay.
Yeah, trading news is.
It's difficult, yeah.
Yeah, it's complicated.
So you know what? I think what we should do for next week, if you guys are up for it, I kind of want to show you guys the process that me and Dan use where we'll actually hindsight test. It's almost like we were doing recaps, but we'll do it on the 15-minute. And we'll mark out the entire month, and then we'll kind of we almost do like a few months of like essentially like hindsight testing, right? So that we kind of forget what happens. And then we'll come back and back test it, right?
Yeah.
And then we'll compare the two, right? Because obviously in the hindsight, you're going to mark out anything that's valid within your plan. And then within the back test, we want to see like how many you hit that are valid, right?
Yeah.
And like what L's you're taking and stuff like that, right? But I think that's a good way of building a skill. It's really like, it's very similar to like Brian's process for back testing, right? Where he's like, delete everything, back test it after you've done it, right? If you have really good memory, maybe it's not good for you, but for me and I think Miguel, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have a
I don't
very
remember
good memory.
price action.
Yes,
so.
yes.
I don't remember my zones from last week or
Me
yesterday.
neither.
Even.
Oh man, even my biggest trades, I don't remember how I entered them. I just know I got in somewhere there, you know.
Yeah, I had an awesome trades a few months ago on AU that gave me 100 R, and I don't remember how I entered it. Yeah, I know that. I know it was a 1 pip stop loss. My target was 400 pips, and I got out with the 100 RR on the partials I took.
Adapt and react, eh?
Yeah. But price went to my target. Just swept me because I was in the decisional. I wasn't on the extreme.
Nice.
Wow. So look, this
My-
was all just
my analysis was
internal
correct.
Range liquidity, eh? Look at that. Oops,
Yeah.
we need to skip ahead so far, but oh man, we actually missed one here. But did we chalk? Yeah, I kind of did. I don't know. This is a messy chalk. Did we chalk on the 4 hour yet? No. So yeah, Miguel, I would play this chain maybe, but again, it's super aggressive, right? We're like
A bit.
not the best.
But we are used to aggressive stuff.
It's very aggressive, yeah. Because I want to wait
We
for this
swept
chalk
here.
and everything. So let's get crazy for this last few days here and see if we can recover it. Throw one on here.
If we could recover the losses from August, I'm sure we are going to recover the losses.
Yeah.
of Liquid.
Yeah, that's true. Always find a way, right?
Yeah.
Have we ever had a negative backtest session?
Not yet.
Say it again.
We had a few ones with less R's. August, for example, we only got positive on the last day.
Yeah, like we really pushed hard to like fix it, but it happens, right?
Yeah.
August, yeah.
Like, I'll say this, with the way that I trade, and maybe Miguel, you can relate, it's weird. Like, I almost have to expose myself to a lot of stuff in order to get into stuff. So I don't know if that's like a reflection of my skill, but for me, it's like if I'm too conservative, I end up just missing like the actual moves.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out how to be more of a conservative trader. It just, for some reason, doesn't gel with the way that I trade, right? And then, you know, on the other hand, like in a real market, like if you took this many L's, you'd probably, I mean, number one, I'd probably take my win and just probably take 5R for the month and call it.
Yeah.
Because like, I wouldn't want to keep attacking it. You know what I mean? This would be a little bit difficult. That's a lot of losses, right? To take.
Yeah, exactly.
See, sometimes I'll mark out stuff and it just works, and I don't know why. It's like subconscious for me. I mean, I can tell you why this one works, right? Look, we sweep liquidity. We
have inducements.
The thing is, we have inducement, but look, we kind of respected this demand. So again, this is like one of those risky entries. This might not even hold, right?
Yeah, this moment, after sweeping this, I would enter here. Probably.
Here, yeah. Yeah, actually, I agree. I didn't even take that in. But look, we actually do get a retest, right? And look, another demand failure here. Let's enter that one for you, Miguel. I think that's fair.
Would cover this.
Cover the high, yeah. I say we cover a little bit above this high. That's good.
No,
and
I wasn't saying that I would enter here. I would enter here.
Oh, on the wick. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
see, but this actually makes sense to me.
Was the one that caused the
oh yeah. Sorry. You're right. Yeah. I didn't even take that in.
And I would cover this week.
So you're saying
because we have
here.
We have this place
okay,
here.
Yeah.
That price might mitigate yet.
Yeah, that's my bad. I thought for some reason that this broke, and then like this was kind of the cause of it, sorry, this one up here, and we retested it. I guess the only way you could argue it, again, don't do this, guys, but like these internal demands, if anything, right?
Yeah.
But
you can use
that's not like super high probability.
Remember that higher time frame always bulls. So if you have higher time frame demands, it will prevail over a lower time frame demand.
Yeah. So 4 hour, right? Still bullish, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't even chalk yet, I don't think.
No.
That's okay.
The chalk is
13
actually
losses.
serious.
This is a tough month. Who actually backtested this, and what were your results on it? Did any of you guys get positive on it or no?
I've done it yet. Yes.
How was it, Oliver?
I pulled up like 18R, but I was targeting always 5R because I didn't like the target and how it moves.
Yeah, that's fair. Like honestly, being conservative with your targets were probably better. Like we missed out on a lot of R because we got too aggressive with holding, right?
A little bit greedy, yeah.
Yeah, we got very greedy on this one. It's okay. We learned from it, right?
Yeah.
So what was your net R at the end? 18, you said?
Yeah, 18, and my success rate was like 20%.
Okay, so it was relatively low too. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, good job though, man. You outdid us on it.
If you can do 5R consistently, remember that's risking 0.5% trades. It's 2.5 R per trade.
Yeah.
If you do 2 trades that go to the TP, it's 5% a week. That's equivalent to a 20% a month.
Yeah.
It's more than enough.
I only target 5R, but then I only trade the 15-minute too.
Yeah, I thought on doing that, but I'm too greedy.
Nah, I understand. I mean, I'm gonna definitely push myself more next year, but it's because I've only been in Phantom for like 2 months, so like targeting 5R as a max right now is really great. Risking like 0.5 or 1%, it's really great because it's peaceful.
It's a good way
more
to
peaceful
get into
trading.
it for sure.
I started trading GU now because it gives me plenty of Rs. I can trade with the 20 or 30R easy on GU.
Yeah, GU's insane, man. It's great.
But it's riskier than EU.
Very.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because of the sweeps of the sweeps of the sweeps.
Yeah,
sweep of the sweep. I like
it.
everything gets swept.